And then based on what you said, I may or may not mention this, because you might have mentioned it already, but let's look at punishment versus consequences. It is human nature to resent punishment, and therefore resent the punisher. This causes ill feelings between parent and child. When logical consequences are applied, the child learns that their behavior has consequences, but those consequences are a result of their behavior, rather than the parent's arbitrary decision. The consequence becomes a more effective teaching tool, and the parent's role is less significant. This shift is powerful. And now the next slide is all about logical consequences and their benefits. They show respect for you and your child. They fit the misbehavior. They are for bad choices, not bad kids. They are about now, not the past. They are firm and friendly, and they allow choice. And again, I would wait for questions and comments. Next slide. There are a few logical consequences, and the first one is about connecting the dots with the word choice. So we're going to apply the choice strategy to the following situations that we've already referred to. So a friend decides to go home because of an issue with sharing. If you're using choice, you would say, it was your choice to not share with your friend, and therefore, they are going home. It was your choice to not eat dinner, and therefore, you feel hungry. It was your choice not to do your homework, and therefore, you lost recess. And my favorite from my experience as a mom, it was your fault that you left your baseball bat at home, and that's why you had to use your coach's baseball bat, which you do not like. So back to me. Another logical consequence besides choice is a consequence that fits the misbehavior. And this kind of logical consequence works best when kids are aware of it ahead of time. It's planned for. For example, a child receives a warning that says, if you don't put your bike away today, you won't be able to ride it tomorrow. This helps prevent a power struggle where the child claims it's unfair because he didn't know the rules. By warning the child ahead of time, it teaches him responsibility, as he has the option to make a choice about his behavior. So slide 7 is, a logical consequence must relate to the behavior, and these consequences often involve a loss of privilege. Taking away a privilege for 24 hours is usually long enough time period. No more, you're grounded for a month. Consequences are most effective when they are fairly immediate. It is important to be firm but pleasant when giving logical consequence. So if a parent yells or appears to be very angry, it's going to come across as punitive, and that will lead a child to focus more on their parent's anger rather than their own misbehavior. Logical consequences also need to be age appropriate. Make sure your expectations are reasonable and realistic. So now we're going to get into some really meaty stuff. This is examples of logical consequences. But what I would like to do is read these logical consequences and then see if we can compare them to a choice consequence, which is also logical, as well as punishment. So for example, a 10-year-old is throwing a ball in the house and he breaks a lamp. He has to do chores to earn enough money to pay for a new lamp. If this was choice, and the plan was in place that if you break something or do something irresponsible, our rule is that you have to earn money to replace it, then you could say it was your choice to throw the ball in the house, and therefore you will have to pay for a new lamp. punishment would be, let's go to your room, you lose dessert. Very generic. A 4-year-old refuses to pick up her dolls. She loses her privileges to play with the dolls for the rest of the day. That makes sense, right? That's a good logical consequence. It fits the misbehavior. If it was a choice, you know the rules. If you don't pick up your toys, this is what you have to do. It is your choice to not pick up your toys, therefore. I think you get the idea, so we're going to move on. Slide 12. So there are 2 types of logical behaviors, or logical consequences that we have just discussed. The consequence fits the behavior, and it was your choice, therefore. At this point, I would like parents to think about how they could apply logical consequences to their own lives. I'll give you a few minutes to think about that, so if you're working with me, you may want to pause the video and do that. Now, there's one more kind of logical consequence, and it's not part of the STEP program, but I want you to do it. It is more complicated because it may appear natural, but it's totally creative. Here we go. A 9-year-old misses the bus on purpose. We know it's on purpose. His mother drives him to school, but the consequence is he has to do chores to earn gas money to pay for the ride. There's no choice. There's no plan in place. But look, you missed the bus. I had to pay for gas to get all the way to your school. That money needs to be replaced. If that's something that's comfortable for you, that would be a great logical consequence that seems very natural. Or, if the child was late to school and therefore missed work, a great logical consequence is, I have work for you to make up because you missed 15 minutes of school. It's seamless. It seems like it's natural. It's not punitive. You understand the difference? Are you liking it? So we have 3 kinds of logical consequences. Consequence fits the behavior. It was your choice. And because this happened, this needs to happen, or in some cases, not happen if something fun does not get to happen. So we're going to do some real great work here, where we're going to compare a situation with all 3 logical consequences as well as punishment. And what I'd like you to think about is, I'm going to walk over here for a minute. What I want you to think about is, for each one, what would be a choice if the plan was in place? How could we connect it to the misbehavior? What we have already is a created one that appears natural. A natural consequence compared to a punishment that we might typically apply, that maybe we used to apply. And in each case, what will a child learn from that consequence? So here we go. A child is 8 years old and he doesn't wear his bike helmet. A great created punishment is he loses his bicycle privileges for 24 hours. Actually, that's not a created. That would be a nice logical consequence where it matches the misbehavior. A created consequence would be he watches a video on brain injury. You see how those are different? Which do you like? Both are logical. What would happen if we let the child naturally just not wear his bike helmet? Well, that would not be appropriate in this situation. That would be unsafe. How about if we applied the choice consequence? It was your choice, and the plan was in place. It was your choice not to wear your bike helmet. Therefore, okay, so I'm going to step over here so we can follow this. Oh, that's not going to work. I need the slide. Oh dear. Okay, how about rude? I cannot talk to you for a while because it's unpleasant to hear you speak to me rudely. That is a created consequence that fits the misbehavior. If it was a choice and the plan was in place, I cannot talk to you now because, as you know, I don't talk to you when you talk to me rudely, and it was your choice to talk rudely. If we connect it to the misbehavior, we say we have to come up with a consequence for being rude. You were rude, therefore I would like you to write something that discusses how you can talk politely to people. That's a consequence that fits the misbehavior. A natural consequence for when a child is rude, well, a natural consequence is maybe you tell them you don't feel like playing with them because they were so rude, or maybe you don't feel like going someplace. Whatever, you wouldn't be creating it if it's natural, it would just flow. And what about punishment? Your child is rude, what would punishment be? Typical punishments. Go to your room, time out, loss of screen time, loss of dessert, go to bed early, whatever it is, generic, that would be. So what would a child learn from those kinds of behaviors? Think about what consequence was the most would help your child learn a lesson best. I would hope that you would agree that a natural consequence helps your child to learn a lesson and avoids all the pitfalls of punishment. So here's sampling of so many different logical consequences that are created. And if you would like to do the work yourself, you would apply the choice with the plan in place, connect to the misbehavior, think about what might be a natural consequence, think about what a typical punishment might be that hopefully you will not be using anymore, and what your child learns from the various consequences. So here is another one. Mean to sibling. Those are my babies. Since we are a family that loves each other, you will have to make it up to your siblings so they feel your love. Ignoring parents. Perhaps you have a hearing problem. We were going to Disneyland, but now we will have to go to the ear doctor. It's pretty mean, huh? Temper tantrum. You seem fragile, which means you are not getting enough sleep. Tonight you will need to go to sleep early. Eating with hands. Unable to come to a restaurant because it's not acceptable behavior. Then take the sibling out by themselves. Coming into the parents' room in the middle of the night. We were going to take you to Disneyland today, but now we can't because we are so tired. Seems natural, right? Hurting someone's feelings. Look at their face. See how sad they are? You did that. Talking back. Take a time out from playing something fun with them to role play, responding respectfully. I hope you see, these are very powerful. You can come up with these too. They're not easy, but they are so, so powerful. So, I hope you agree that natural consequences are so important to increase our child's responsibility. Logical consequences also help your child to learn and increase their responsibility. And punishments, I hope you'll find that you have way more effective tools to use than punishments. And before you leave, I would love to hear you tell me what you feel is the most effective strategy that you have learned so far. And I hope there are many, and as you continue to hone your skills, you will increase your effectiveness and you will be the very best parent that you can be. Thank you. My name is Sharon Youngman. I represent good parents and great kids, and that's what we have right here. Take care.